Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 26th episode of the Collective Spotlight. I have an action-packed double feature again today, and without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring out one of the, if you don't know her name already, you're going to real soon. She's one of the up-and-coming names in comics, that's for sure. It's Saida Woolf. How are you doing today, Saida?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Your book, so I have so much 30 minutes probably isn't going to be enough. So much to talk to you about. But your book, Soulstream, is finally releasing after what feels like forever.
Yeah, I know. It's very exciting. I am very excited.
So you had a couple months with the ash can out, but now the full book is out. How does it feel for you? This is your first fully published work, right?
Yeah, this is my first published anything. I feel like I haven't entirely processed it yet. In a month, I'm just gonna wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I have a book. It's published. It's real. What?
So I know today's technically Tuesday. We got the books a couple days ago because of Scout, but Diamond Day is tomorrow. I know there's a pandemic and everything, but any, virtual parties, anything like that to celebrate? Because tomorrow it's going to hit shelves.
Yeah, I'm really excited for tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do specifically tomorrow yet, but I am very excited because it's coming out tomorrow and comic shops are gonna be selling it and just
And we already have people on sub for it. It's really awesome. We have kids already excited for it. The ash can helped get people excited for it. What's up, Steven?
I'm trying to find my phone.
Oh, it's not here, I promise you.
What? I made the graphic to promote today's show, and I was like, she's probably going to freak out. Her characters are next to Superman and Wonder Woman. And when we first got the promotional stuff for your book, and Danny was like, she's 15. I was like, wait, what? No way. That's insane. That's crazy. And I'm 30, and I'm like, I can't even do what this girl's doing. But yeah, book looks super awesome. I'm excited to read it. So I'm going to run, though. But congrats on getting this published. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying
to. It says in the credits, creator, writer, artist, and everything else. Did you do your own lettering as well?
I did, yes.
Wow.
That is a font that I made a while ago. So
call her a Renaissance woman, if you will.
However, I do have my best friend, Cora Sweeney. She's an incredibly talented traditional artist. And she does a lot of digital work too, but she made a variant cover for me. I love it so much.
So that's where I was going to go next. So you got a friend of yours to be able to do a published cover. So it's not just your success. You now have a friend, succeeding along with you. What was that like?
I'm just so happy about, I'm so incredibly thankful to know her, and just to be friends with her. And this cover, every time I look at it, it's so good.
That's awesome that you were able to get a friend to work with you alongside the book. But I've digressed. I've been so excited talking about the book. Tell people what Soulstream's kind of about if they haven't had a chance to read the ash can yet.
Yeah, so it's a fantasy superhero comic for all ages, and it's pretty much about a group of kids who find a portal to another world, and then they get these magical bracelets that let them turn into superheroes, and then they have to go save this alternate dimension. And
I absolutely love it. I love the idea of the bracelets. I love your character designs.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things I noticed on the back of the ash can, and it's not on the back of these because they did in true Scout fashion, they did this, but it mentioned how you have a passion for video game design, things like that. How much of that passion went into this comic? Because I could very much see this being a little side-scrolling dungeon game as well.
Yeah, so I've always loved video games ever since I was very, very young, and I feel like a lot of that definitely has crept into this book for sure. There's definitely a lot of video game influence in even just elements of the story, and the way that the book just a lot of things in the book are very it takes a lot from video games, basically.
Awesome. And how long had you been working on the book? How long, how long ago did you start on this idea?
Well, so when I started on this book, I was 15, and now I'm actually 17. So I've been working on this for about 2 years now. And it's actually really interesting because all of issue 1 was made 2 years ago. So I'm really excited for the rest of the story to come out in June, because a lot of that's all the work I've been doing over the past. I'm just really excited for people to see the rest of the story.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong. I was able to read the Ashcan, and I read this. Is the Ashcan separate story from what starts in issue 1, or was it the first couple of pages from issue 1?
So the Ashcan is the first, I think, 7 or 8 pages from issue 1, and then issue 1 is 20 pages long, and the Ashcan is just a preview of issue 1.
Okay. So to answer our friend Paul, the first issue is officially out. We have them for $1.99, and it has the additional parts of the story that the Ashcan didn't. I know we handed out. Actually, Saida, I believe you sent us a ton of Ashcans, and we were able to give them out to our fans and everything like that. And a lot of people added it to their sub because they said their kids absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
I got an interesting question here. So this is going to be, I think this is one of the first Scoot books.
Yeah.
Scoot is going to be the first issue and then a full trade, kind of like the nonstop stuff, right?
Yes.
So would you be willing, this would be something we can talk about later off air, but if we wanted to do an exclusive cover for the actual trade, would you want to do that with us? Would you want to draw something?
Well, yeah, that would certainly be neat. I'm not sure how the logistics of that would work.
We'll handle
we can handle all that.
We just need to make sure you want
to do the art.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Yeah, because we've been talking about doing something with Scoot, and actually that's going to lead me to another question I was going to ask you. We're good friends with Richard Rivera. He lives out here in Central Florida with us. What was it like working with Rich? Because I know Rich has been really dived in on Scoot since the beginning.
Oh, he's been great to work with. Absolutely. He has been so incredibly helpful through every single step of this process, getting the book out there. It's been amazing working with him.
And so let me ask you, you started writing this when you were 15, you're 16. But Scoot is intended to be like all ages books. So were there any challenges to try to craft a story that didn't just resonate with you and, your friends, but also could kind of go to the lower, nieces, nephews, things like that?
Yeah, well, I've really put a lot of work into making this book something that everybody can enjoy. And I think I would say that the target age range is probably just ages 7 and up, like anyone just but I've always loved, I always enjoy all ages media myself anyway, so I don't think it was too difficult to try to keep it at a good, like, all ages level, I suppose. But.
So you just said what I think a lot of us think, but we don't admit sometimes, that we enjoy all ages media. It might be made, written, or directed for younger audience, but I think a lot of us still enjoy that stuff. How have you noticed that people, there's that stigma, I guess would be the word, that if it's all ages, I can't read it as an adult. It has to be for my niece, nephew, little kid, or whatnot. But I mean, for all of us, a comic book is a comic book. I mean, an adult can pick this up and enjoy this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, I think. Yeah, all ages media, I think, is really something really special because it's something that everyone can enjoy. And I think also keeping a story at an all ages level sometimes can force writers to deal with themes or other story things in ways that they wouldn't. The confines of an all ages medium can sometimes cause greater innovation in storytelling, if that makes sense, I guess.
Absolutely. So Joey just asked the question. He said, Saida, how has your artwork progressed from when you started on Soulstream to the work you're doing now?
Yeah, so I think my artwork has definitely had some great improvements over the course of working on this book. And that was actually one of the reasons why long ago I decided I wanted to try to make a comic, because I figured making a comic would be good for my art skills, because I would be forced to draw things and scenarios that I probably wouldn't have just tried on my own, because you have to do a lot of drawing for a comic. I spend hours every single day working on this book to try to get it finished. And I think my artwork has gotten so much better over the course of this entire project. And I'm really excited for people when the trade paperback comes out to see all the artwork that I've been doing more recently, because I'm really proud of how it's been coming out.
Oh, and that's what I was gonna say. I can imagine once the trade paperback comes out, from issue 1 to what would be issue 4 or whatever, the tail end of. I'm sure you improved, because I mean, you're a teenager. You're improving every day. I'm sure. But because you mentioned all ages media, and I think you're the perfect person to mention this. Do you feel like in the past there was a little bit of a gap in the market in all ages media, in terms of saying like there wasn't a lot of stuff there for the 7, 8, 9-year-olds? And I feel like one thing I love about Scoot is they're putting a lot of content out there for 7 and 8-year-olds. But I do feel like that was a gap in the market before. Did you notice that before?
Yeah, I feel like there definitely, for a while, there was a bit of a gap in the market. Because I specifically remember when I was a lot younger, I kept trying repeatedly to get into comics, and I could not, because every time I would try to read a comic, and it just was not appropriate for my age level, I guess. So and also in general, I just really enjoy the more lighthearted stories that all ages media generally has to offer. So I'm really excited for the Scoot imprint to be bringing more all ages comics to the industry, because I really think that comics are something that everybody should be able to enjoy. And I'm just really excited for all of this.
Well, and your enthusiasm is like bleeding through the screen. It's awesome to be talking to somebody who's so excited and passionate about their project. So talk to me about what were some of your comic book influences. I know, again, you're only 16, but like, what were you, when you did read comics, what were you reading, or what were artists or writers that you followed?
Well, I know some comics that I really like. I really like the Miss Marvel comics. I think those are really great. Okay. I haven't read a lot of the more recent ones, but I love those. I know when I was first creating Soulstream, I was reading a lot of the Gwenpool comics. I really liked those. That was those were some of my first introductions to the whole just Marvel comics in general. And I really liked those. Okay. I've always sort of liked like anime and manga stuff too. So I think my work definitely has some influences from those types of things. Like Sailor Moon and all that. I think definitely those are some influences there. I can't think of. I know I used to read a lot of webcomics. I can't think of any specific ones. But I remember
cartoons and everything.
Yeah, I can't think of anything specific right now. But those are some of the comic influences I've had, I suppose.
While working on Soulstream, other than Rich, did you have anybody, any pro from the industry kind of either reach out to you, give you tips, advice, or was it kind of just Rich that helped you out?
Well, everyone from the Scout Comics team has been really helpful and supportive through this entire process. And I think, I'm really thankful to be part of the Scout Comics, because it's just great. Everyone there is just.
You joined at a perfect time, because with the Scoot imprint, your book, there was Soulstream, and then last week there was oh my God, I'm gonna butcher Sensi and Tango or whatnot.
Yeah.
So 2 great 199 Scoot books. Actually, that reminds me. One of the things that I thought was genius about Scoot was, even though they're all ages media, they started them at $1.99, which I think is a genius thing for parents to be able to get the comic books in their kids' hands. And I know, has your mom mentioned anything to you maybe about how the $1.99 price point is kind of nice? Because I know a lot of parents, for a $4.99 comic book is kind of a tough grab for a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I definitely think the $1.99 price tag. I think that is going to be really helpful to get that to get the comics into the hands of more children. Because they're very affordable. You can just $1.99.
It's easy. It reminds all the older people of like back in my day, $1.99.
Yeah.
So Joey asked, what can we expect from the Soulstream universe? So without spoiling too much, what can we expect?
After in the trade paperback, there's a whole bunch of new characters that get introduced that I'm really excited about. And I think and the mage goddess who appears in issue 1, she comes back briefly as well, which is wow. I think that the world I've created for Soulstream, I'm really happy about it, and I think it's really neat because it has some of the more traditional superhero aesthetics, but it's kind of it also brings in a bit more of the fantasy element type stuff too, which I think I'm happy about how that came out. It all just has this very good aesthetic that
absolutely
is very nice, and I am very proud of it.
And it reminds me, I wanted to ask you about your character designs. I love your character designs for both of these two main characters. They're very sleek, clean, but they look awesome. What were some of your inspirations on the character design? Did you, is a little bit of it self-portrait, or is it kind of based on friends? How did you go about designing your characters?
Well, I know when I was first designing all my characters, I focused a lot on shapes mostly.
Okay.
I was really interested in using different shapes and colors to communicate different personality traits or different different vibes that the different characters would have. And I spent a long time on all my character designs too, because I really think that character design, it's still is a type of design. So it really should kind of, with any kind of design, you want the outside to reflect what's on the inside. And I think that applies to character design too, because you want to be able to look at a character and already get a sense of just general information about just those vibes.
The vibes are real. I have to ask, is blue your favorite color? We went with there's a lot of blue aesthetic, and it's awesome. It goes very well with the characters, but I just needed to ask if that's your favorite color.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I have a favorite color, honestly. Although I do use it a lot. You're right. Yeah. Yes.
And it looks awesome, especially on your main character with the clothes and everything. The aesthetic is great. You hit it right on the head. About that.
Thank you. Yeah, I know in some later parts of the book there's just I try to use colors to communicate different moods in different scenes, or just so there's some parts of the book that are really orange that I've been drawing recently that I'm some of the book is there's a lot of purple in this book too. I've noticed looking back on it.
I mean, the color palette that you use is really great, and it's perfect for all ages media because it pops, and if a kid picks this up, they're gonna be like, oh, pretty. Like, I hate to say it, but, oh, pretty colors, and the story does the rest.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So what's your plan on Soulstream? Is the trade paperback going to be it? Is that going to conclude the Soulstream story? Is there open plans for potentially more?
I'm honestly not sure. I mean, there is the potential for more, but I don't know. I don't know if I can really give a good answer right now, but
okay. Well then, to piggyback on that, what else is in store for Saida? Like, I mean, you're at 16, at 15, you sign, you get a deal to do a comic. At 16, you publish a comic. So, what do you want to, and I know, you probably still have school and everything like that to worry about, but what do you want to see yourself doing moving forward in comics?
I'm also quite unsure about that as well. I think I want to go to college at some point. Not sure when, but I don't know. Yeah.
Now, do you view yourself as, and clearly you're a Renaissance woman, but do you view yourself as an artist first or a writer first? What was your first passion?
Um, I've always I think I want to say both because I've always loved trying to communicate stories through visual mediums. So
Okay.
I've done a lot of like experimentation with like video game design and animation and other stuff too. Just because communicating stories visually is something that I really love and that I'm really passionate about.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about the response you've gotten from the book during the ash can portion. I know you went really heavy on pushing the ash can. You guys made trading cards. You had like
Yes.
trading cards.
Trading
And
cards.
yeah, so people were familiar with Soulstream long before it hit Diamond previews. What are some of the things you've heard, from out there, other than from David Byrne, myself, and,
Well, I know one thing we did was we gave a whole bunch of Ashcan copies to the local library in my town, and they gave them out as like a Halloween event quite a while ago. And I got a very positive response from people who had received it through that, and I was really happy from that because I think a lot of kids in my town were able to enjoy it through that.
That's absolutely awesome. I'm so glad you were able to do that. Yeah. When you gave us the ash cans, we did a few of them as promotional items, and people who were picking up items for their kids, we went ahead and gave it to them so that their kids can read them. And almost all of them came back saying, please, can I get the main book when it comes out? So,
that's so great.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, all ages media is, has been forgotten sometimes. And when we see books like this, and I think me and you had a communication back in like November when you're like, can I come on the show? And I'm like, look, you can come on the show all you want. We're already ordering the book. Like, you don't have to convince us. We can bring you on later. But no, like, absolutely. When we see all ages, and, kudos goes out to Richard Rivera and Scout, and most importantly, you, obviously. But I mean, this is clearly a win-win for comics. It's a great price point, great story, and it can get kids into comics. Like, Saida, I have to ask you, and you probably haven't thought of it this way. Yeah, I gave Paul a copy too, but you probably haven't thought of it this way. But being in writing an all ages book, you potentially can be the first comic book that a lot of kids will own or read. Has that hit you? Have you thought about that?
Oh my gosh, I never thought about it. Gosh.
Like, it's gonna happen. Like, prepare yourself mentally, get ready. It's gonna happen.
Wow. I had not thought of that before.
Yes.
You're right.
But so just tell us, but before, we still got a couple minutes left. Has it hit you yet? Is it hitting you? Saida, this is real. It's going to be on the shelves tomorrow. People can already order them online. I mean, so, okay, here's the real question. What was your mom's reaction when, you found out? What was the family reaction when you found out you were going to get a comic book published?
It was very positive, especially because my mother was actually the one who pushed me to submit it to different companies. Okay. And yeah, my family's been really supportive through this whole experience, and I'm really thankful for that.
That's awesome. So on the same token, what's it been like being a comic creator during the pandemic? Because I'm sure it's a lot of time in your room staring at computer, pen and pad, paper. Does it get the creative juices flowing, or does it actually do the opposite because you have so much time to think about it?
Well, I think I've definitely had a lot more time to work on it, I guess.
Well, yeah.
I mean, words, gosh. Yeah, I think I've definitely, I'm really sad for all the things that the opportunities that I've lost because of this, and my heart goes out to everyone who's been adversely affected by it for sure. But I think, yeah, I've gotten a lot more time to work on the comic, and just not having to not going places has given me a lot more time to finish it. Okay. I guess. Does that make sense?
It's been positive for you, right? So I know I asked this earlier, but Joey is literally asking. So you literally have no plans for release day? Like it's like the draft, Saida. Like this is a big deal. Like
I mean, I have my English class tomorrow. I don't.
okay.
I have a yearbook meeting. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that goes to show you guys that is, even though she's got a published comic book, high school doesn't stop. Okay, she's gotta go to her yearbook club meeting. Like she's got to get things done. But is there a local shop to you that like you might stop by maybe and sign some copies, or like do you have a local shop that you're like the champion of?
Well, the closest shops are all an hour away from where I live, so I don't think we're gonna be able to drive to any of them tomorrow. But I know that we've done some stuff with some of the closer ones recently. We've given them signed copies or trading cards to give out. I know we gave some of them ash cans long back when ash cans were the current thing that was coming out.
Feels like forever ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I cannot. Yeah.
So yeah, Joey's saying school's good, but you got to hit the LCS. No, well, she's clearly got the plan. You know, I'm sure. So like, let's be fair. Like Saturday, I'm sure you and the mom will make the rounds. You know, you'll see how many are left on shelves. I'm sure that's going to be exciting because, like you said, you gave away ash cans and you did a lot of programs to get that out there. But now you can actually like go and see it on a shelf where it is for sale. Like. So, real quick before we let you go, again, first of all, congratulations. I have to tell you from all of us here at the store. I know Steven wants to congratulate you. David Burns been in the comments congratulating you. So everybody here at the collective wants to congratulate you. It's a huge achievement to get something published at that age. And I guess I'll just do one page because it's the first page. But guys, it's no slouch. Like it's good art too. And then she's literally like everything. She did everything. This is the least amount of names that I have seen on a Scout creator page ever. All right. It's Richard, Wayne, and Saida. Like, that's it. Those are the only people. Like, you didn't even let Joel letter this thing, you know? But, and where did that idea come for you even doing the lettering? Because I'm sure Scout would have been okay lettering, but is that something that you were working on?
Well, when I was first making it, I made the first 8 pages completely just like for fun, I guess. So I just made a font and I was like, okay, I'll just use this as my lettering. And then we submitted it to Scout and the rest is history. There we go. There you go.
What did you name the font?
I think it's just, I don't remember. I think the file is just called like Saida script or something.
I was either gonna say it's Soulstream script or Saida script.
It's my personal font. I use it for all the things.
So one more time before we let you go, I want to let you give a shout out to your friend as well who did the variant cover. What was her name again?
Cora Sweeney, and she's amazing, and I love her.
Yes. So first of all, like I know I asked you at the beginning, but like the fact that you got to work together with a friend, like you guys can literally you guys can hold this copy and be like, oh my God, between you on this cover and me on the interiors, we did this. Is that kind of surreal to you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, it makes me so happy. Oh my gosh.
And I'll be honest, I absolutely love the painting that she did on this character, and it's like you guys are meant to work together, you know, like the contrast is perfect there.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Every time I look at it, I love it.
Cora's actually in the chat. So again,
what?
Cora, yep, she's
oh my gosh.
Put some hearts in there, but Cora Sweeney right here, the artist.
Oh my gosh.
Variant, absolutely killed it with the paints. Cora, super talented. You definitely also has a future. Gosh, Saida, are you in California?
Yes.
California. So there's clearly something in the water in California that's.
I'm selling your book as we speak.
We're selling a copy of your book right now.
Oh my gosh.
So this has been awesome. So, Saida, congratulations again on the book. When the trade comes out, we'll be sure to bring you back on the show so that we can talk about your crazy adventures these last couple of months.
Where's the cover? 15?
I think so. Yeah. Just
Okay.
check it on the Scout site.
This is our friend that did it, right?
Yes, Cora Sweeney, who's actually in. We're selling a copy of Cora's cover right now as we speak too. So
Yes.
I don't. Is this like a friend she actually
Yeah.
knows in person?
Yeah.
We're gonna send what's left of these.
to get
I want
signed.
them both signed.
Okay, so Cora, we might be sending some copies to get signed by you. Saida, actually, we'll probably send a couple copies to see if we can get them signed by you as well. I don't know if we told you, but we have the I Am the Collective wall, and we absolutely want you to be a part of it. So if we'll send a couple copies, and on one of them, if you can sign it, I Am the Collective, you will be enshrined on our wall. But Saida, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck with the book. You don't need it. I know it's going to sell like gangbusters, but best of luck with the book, and best of luck with the rest of your career. You're going to be huge. I know it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And again, we'll have to have you back on in June for the trade paperback.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, you have a great day, and thank you, Cora, for stopping by too. Saida, you're the best. The book is Soulstream, everybody. Please check it out. $1.99, first issue. Absolutely worth the pickup. And we do have some Cora Sweeney variant covers in the store. Her name is Saida Woolf. Know it. Write it down. Remember it. She's going to be super famous one day. Take it easy, Saida. Have a great day.
You too.
So that was Saida Woolf from Soulstream. Absolutely amazing guest. Been talking to her for a while. Finally got to get her on the show. Soulstream #1 going to be in stores tomorrow. We have them here at the Collective. I'll drop one for you, Paul. And Josh Wheel, you already have one. Now, my next guest is literally, I think he has like a residency on this show. We just bring him on like every 2 weeks or something like that. But it's Dan Waters, and he's actually not writing a horror book this week. Let's bring him on right away. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, Danny, how's it going, man?
Good, man. So, like, apparently you're just going to host the show starting next week. We
I
bring
thought it might be easier. Yeah.
So, Dan, I tried really hard the last 2 times I had you on to not lose my train of thought and start talking about this book. But we're finally here, and Superman Wonder Woman is on the shelves. Talk to me about this. I know I got a chance to kind of pop under the hood last time we talked, but you mentioned that you were really excited to write something kind of hopeful and optimistic.
Yeah. I do a lot of horror. With 2 horror books running in Create Our Own Things at the moment. In The Picture, Everything Else, and Homesick Pilots, which is also out tomorrow, issue 2.
Yes,
when I was sort of asked to do something that was Superman, Wonder Woman, and sort of set in the future and far enough in the future where I was like, well, I can look at how a world, it won't be unrecognizable. It will still be like pretty similar to ours, but just better. Like how things could actually improve if we actually had figures like Superman, Wonder Woman, looking over our shoulders in the real world. So that's what we kind of set out to do.
in the book, you use Jonathan
You gotta pay
Kent.
him to come back on the show.
I paid, dude. Me and Dan are on salary right now. Dan's getting paid the big bucks to be back on. But when you got chose to do Superman, Wonder Woman, did they come to you saying, "Hey, we want you to do John and Yara," or was that your choice? How did that?
Yeah, I mean, Yara hadn't been announced at that point, so I couldn't have, known that beforehand, unless I had some really uncanny guesswork. They sort of said, there was obviously the other books, Superman and Wonder Woman books that are starring those characters, and they just kind of wanted to see where they would end up a little bit further down the road.
Steven, stop it. No. But Dan, so we've talked about getting to write this optimistic stuff, right? And when you get to write Jonathan Kent, right? And Yara is a little bit different because Yara is really new. Jonathan's somebody that's been around. Clark's been around. The S is recognizable. You know, that costume's recognizable. Was there any pressure for you? Did you feel coming in and having to write Superman?
Not massively. It's more kind of like there's a kind of almost an immediate comfort to writing a character with. I mean, yes, it's John. It's rather than Clark and all this kind of thing. But there's so much sort of like weight behind that S and behind that symbol that we immediately know kind of what it means and who this is and what kind of person they are. And it just like that takes away a lot of the sort of need to sort of, you know, like pop the hood up and work out what it is we're looking at. It kind of gives you like a shorthand to just jump in and start telling the story. I mean, definitely sort of working out what is different between John and his dad is a part of the thing, a part of the process. But yeah, no, it was more of a delight than anything to get my hands on those characters.
So, like you mentioned, Yara being new. One of the things I found interesting about Yara is, in the matter of 2 weeks, you know, her first appearance, cameo, you know, whatnot, being in death metal, but in a matter of about 2 weeks, she's in 3 different books. She's in Justice League, she's in Superman, Wonder Woman, and she's in her own Wonder Woman. Were there any conversations between you 3 writers that were writing Yara at the same time to either make sure that you guys aren't doing the same thing or maybe making sure that your guys' characteristics were the same? Was there any dialogue?
To be honest, no, not between us as writers, but we have a good editorial team who are because I think I was writing mine a little bit further down the line.
Okay.
Those were already established, so I was able to be sent like Joelle's scripts and some of her like finished comic and things like that.
Okay, so you were able to kind of take a look at it then, at least, and
then also Layla and Joelle are so Layla Del Duca, who drew the book, and Joelle, that's studio mates as well. So there was definitely a sort of interaction in that kind of regard.
Perfect. And talk to me about, so like, you know, we talked about John and you know how the S, you know, just carries a weight, but getting to write Yara, who's very much a new character. How much did you look into older Wonder Woman stuff, and then how much did you just decide this is a new character? I'm not gonna, you know, we're not gonna focus on some of that older stuff. Like where was the balance there of writing Yara?
Yeah, I know Wonder Woman pretty well. I mean, I've written Diana briefly before. I did an Ares story in one of the anthologies, which was Ares versus Wonder Woman. So I've sort of dug into that stuff before. I definitely wanted to. I mean, to be honest with both of them, I really wanted to look at them as their own characters rather than look at them as legacy characters.
Okay.
So as far as this world is concerned, and you know, we will have short memories. As far as this world's concerned, they are Superman, they are Wonder Woman. That's what everyone sort of remembers, and they're the ones that everyone's grown up with the world we're writing. So it was definitely about I guess looking at Wonder Woman in regards to what makes Wonder Woman and Superman tick in very different ways. That definitely has a sort of through line from previous iterations of Wonder Woman.
Now, Dan, did you get a chance to read Josh's Future State Justice League book yet?
No, I have not yet. And Ram's got a thing in that as well, so he'll kill me.
Yeah. So in Josh's little story, there's a cool camaraderie between Jonathan and Yara because, you know, they're members of the Justice League. I'm just curious at how much you figured that, because, you know, in the Superman Wonder Womans of the past, New 52, things like that, Clark and Diana are very close. They're compatriots. They trust in each other. Did you try to do that with Yara and John, or because they're kind of newer characters, did you feel more like they would be closed off to each other at first?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely, I mean, if you've read it, there's definitely like a lot of friction between them. But it's definitely the sort of result of two people who want the same thing but have different ideas of how the world works.
Okay.
and yeah, our story is basically about them sort of confronting that and overcoming it.
So Ashley, who's actually from the UK, just stopped in and asked, what horror comics have you done? They would like to read one of them. So Dan has done Homesick Pilots #1, which came out last month. #2 literally comes out tomorrow. And then he did A Picture of Everything Else, which was about 3 weeks ago now, I believe, #1
Yeah,
came out.
it was Christmas, basically. December 23rd it came out, yeah.
Both of them are
and
great
then,
reads.
And then Coffin Bound. It's 2 volumes of Coffin Bound, which actually in trade both came out last year.
Yeah, I was going to say Coffin Bound hit its trade. I totally forgot that you did Coffin Bound. I feel terrible, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a slightly different kind of book to Homesick Pilot.
It is.
Man, Wonder Woman.
So Dan, I feel like we've talked about this a few times, but the horror genre is something that you're clearly comfortable in. So when you have to, and you mentioned that when DC reached out to you, you told them, hey, I want to write this lighthearted. I want it to be optimistic. But is there a headspace that you have to step out of to do that? Or is it just that horror comes naturally to you sometimes and that's just the way, you type things? Or is it a mental place that you have to be in when you're writing these books?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any particularly, it's not like sort of, I have to cover myself in spiders and turn all the lights off and sort of King Diamond sort of stuff, like light candles and square off electricity for 3 weeks to get a Homesick Pilot script done. It's a pretty easy headspace. I feel like I've always been a big horror fan, and when you're kind of part of that like quote unquote sort of like community or whatever, it's very like normal to sort of have the to switch in and out of that headspace very quickly. And I would. When I was at university, I'd be writing about anything, and I'd just have like Texas Chainsaw Massacre on in the background. Like it was, there's no real like hard line there.
So I do have to ask this, man. Again, and I know comics, the way they're created is very, sometimes a comic could have been written 6 months ago and it's just now getting to print. But how busy exactly are you, dude? Because you've got 3 books that hit shelves in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, there's quite a bit of. It's funny because both Homesick Pilots and The Picture or Everything Else were originally sort of tentatively planned for last summer. So that definitely looks like I've been doing more in the last sort of 3 months than I probably have, as far as just being like flat out doing nothing else but scripting. I've been doing a lot of yoga. I've been doing a lot of jogging. Nothing else.
Well,
nothing else to do.
He's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I am busy. Is the bottom line, and I think there's a sort of a bit of a lull, or a bit of a deceptive lull in January as things sort of gear up, and I say yes to too many things, and all that kind of thing is happening, while also being far out enough on my create your own scripts, not that I don't feel urgent. Whereas I know if I don't get them to the artists, I will end up behind on everything.
Well, where are we on Homesick? Did you guys finish the first arc yet, or are you guys working on that?
Yeah, we're working on we're doing the first 2 issues of the arc, like creatively, as far as like I'm writing and stuff. I'm writing the first 2 issues of arc 2 at the moment, and I'm doing them back to back. Casper's just finishing issue 5, so it's a bit like running ahead of a train, like trying to build the track as it's leaving the station.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you and Casp have a good chemistry as well. I can tell, just based on what you guys have done with Homesick Pilots. And I mean, you guys are in completely different countries, right?
No, we're in the same country. We're both.
Casper from the UK. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure.
He's not in. He used to be in London. We used to live like 1 train stop away from each other, which was coincidence as well. We met. When we met, at sort of comic-y things, and realized that we lived very close. Which also, I mean, I guess that might be why we started drinking together, which is how we end up doing them.
Yeah, you guys would hop it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, what I think is funny is how you guys from the UK, everything in the United States is based on miles. And yes, I know we used the wrong system here, but in the UK, I find it that more and more people say, "Oh, it's 1 or 2 train stops away." Like that is a unit.
That's a London thing for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a London thing.
we don't have.
It's a weird thing. You end up with a weird because the tube is so like good. It can be a bit rubbish, but it is on its surface pretty good. But because driving in London is useless, there's no point. I don't drive, and a lot of people I know who are from London don't drive because I've never had any incentive to learn to drive. Because
hold on, you said learn to drive? So do you not know how to drive?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Yeah, I think it's definitely more normal here than it is stateside because everything where you guys are is so far away from.
It is.
Everything's so far away.
Very much so. Like 3 train stops is like you're a state over. You know? Like,
yeah, exactly. So, but it's a weird thing where you end up with this weird geography, and then you have to fill in the gaps because you sort of know areas, but you know areas around tube stations. So it's like you don't learn things in sort of like straight lines. You learn things in sort of clusters around stations.
Oh, that's near that station. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because we're talking about the UK, what is the comic scene like in the United Kingdom? You know, I know Diamond ships out there just as big and everything. Are comic stores are there a lot of them? Are they big?
Yeah.
Are they small?
Yeah, we've got. Forbidden Planet being the big one. But we've also got. Yeah, there's really great comic stores in the UK. Frankly, there's a really robust comic scene. I mean, what Brexit's going to do to it all is another question. That's all starting to have an effect.
Okay.
But England has the UK has a really really good comic scene. And just a hop over the sea, Ireland has an amazing comic scene. I don't know what's in the water there, but between sort of I'm not going to start naming creators because I'll forget like people, but there's an amazing scene there in Big Bang Comics.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that because the only there's plenty of talented writers such as yourself and Alex Packendale and stuff like that, but I never was familiar how big the scene was because prior to coming into you guys, Grant Morrison was from Scotland, I believe, and then there's a few others here and there. But yeah, I just wasn't.
We got quite a few. We got like Karen and
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, and you guys got Dan Waters. Come on.
No, there's quite a lot of. I think if you start thinking about it, there's still quite a lot of comic writers.
Yeah. Now, being in the UK, does that ever? Because I know in non-pandemic times, you would probably make your way over to the US for a couple conventions and things like that. Now, clearly, with the pandemic, I'm sure there's been pretty much no conventions. You haven't really been able to go out. But when you do conventions in the US, do you try to book a few of them in a row, or do you go ahead and go back to the UK, then come on back to the US and back to the UK and back? Like, how do you try to manage that in a non-pandemic time?
Yeah, generally it's pretty much that. I generally try and get over for one big stateside convention a year, so either New York or San Diego. Mostly it's been New York. I did my first San Diego a year before last.
Okay,
I believe. And I've done a few sort of smaller ones. But yeah, so it tends to be a case of flying in and flying out because they don't tend to be that close together either.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, I tend to try and use the trip to do something else when I'm there as well because it is quite a long way to come.
Well, we'll just throw this out there. Probably 2022 because Lord knows 2021 probably won't be normal yet. If you come out to MegaCon Orlando, we'll more than be happy to have you out at the store as well, so that we can double down and everything like that. So if you're ever in Orlando, you're more than welcome to the store. You know that.
Oh, thanks very much.
Yeah. So, Dan, I know this is only 2 issues.
Yes.
Does that, how does it change the way you go into writing something when you only have 2 issues to do it?
All right, less pages. Structure is always a thing, right? So it's just a thing of making sure you have the right amount of story for the page for the pages you have, and making sure you have a good clean cliffhanger in the middle. Really, like two issues is quite easy. It gives you a nice smooth sort of like midpoint to stop at and start at. 3 issues is nice because then you do 3 acts over 3 issues. But yeah.
I have to ask, because I asked this to Ram, and I think I'm going to get a different answer from every Future State writer that I get to talk to. So every Future State book has the blurb in there that's like after a triumphant victory, our heroes. After death metal, the ashes of death metal, rises new life, unwritten worlds of tomorrow. How were you explained what Future State is supposed to be? And then how would you explain it to a reader?
Third time he's been on the show, you still have questions for him? You asked him what he had for dinner?
Fish and chips?
Wow.
I had a burrito because we have those now.
He had a burrito.
We've worked out what they are within the last year.
He said they showed up in the last year. Oh man, stop stealing bananas.
Yeah, I think I was just told it was we're doing an event where we're letting characters sort of move forward in time. We're jumping forward into different times, and the idea that it would sort of give a big sort of part of the idea was that it would give you the sort of freedom to explore different kind of futures around these characters. Like obviously the future in Ram's Swamp Thing is very different to the future in my Superman Wonder Woman, because his is a hellhole and mine's bright and happy.
Now, when you guys, when you and DC had these conversations, and I'm asking this more so from a fan consumer standpoint, is the word canon used at all? How do you guys how do these stories fit in the terms of canon?
I mean, I think the word Elseworlds probably came up just in the idea of these are potential futures.
Okay.
So it's not as I think this was literally the conversation that was had. It's not as loose as Elseworlds, and it's not that anything could happen, but it's like these are potential futures. So things could end up here, or they could, the heroes might change the course of history.
So talking about potential futures, is there a potential future that we know of where Dan Watters is writing an ongoing DC book?
Potential? There's always potential, yeah.
So we don't have any announcements to make yet, right?
No, we don't have any announcements to make yet.
Okay.
But, yeah, watch this space. Definitely more stuff. Like I like working with DC.
I mean, no, and I think you could bring a lot. I'm not just saying this because you've been my guest now three times in a row, but I think you could bring a lot to the table to DC, and eventually you got to get sick of writing people getting killed in horror books, right? Like you got to write.
Sure, I can do that. I can do that in the DC universe just fine. That's.
Now, has DC gotten you to write any of their like Halloween anthology stories? Like, have you gotten to write a DC like more horror story already?
Yeah, I did one. I did an Atom story called "The Children of Old Worm," which I really enjoyed. That was with Sumit Kumar, who was the artist on These Savage Shores, and he's now doing the Man Bat, which got delayed, but which is coming out soon, which looks brilliant.
That question about an ongoing sounds like he might be up to something.
So yeah, so that was a story about. I wanted to do pure Lovecraft in the DC universe, which is a really specifically interesting challenge because the first villain the Justice League ever fought was Starro, and Starro is out and out a Lovecraftian entity.
Absolutely.
So it was the idea of. So in the Justice League's first ever appearance, they just got up and beat up a Lovecraftian entity. So then, how do you then tell a story where a Lovecraftian entity is actually scary when we know they can sort of be reached out and touched and things? Because the whole scary thing about them normally is that you can't sort of make heads or tails of them, and you can't know what's sort of lurking behind the darkness.
It's funny, you describing that now makes me absolutely need a Dan and Ram V co-written book. Like, I feel like that's like a dream team
Well,
made.
we definitely have. I think I can say this without him throttling me, because he mentioned it in his last newsletter. But we have something we're doing. It's not co-written, but we have something we're doing together over the next year. Hopefully, coming out towards the end of the year, or maybe early next year. Realistically, with the state of everything.
But that's awesome.
But yeah, we're working on a project together, which I think is something that people haven't really done before and haven't really seen done. So that's going to be really exciting.
Well, you and Ram tend to do things that people haven't done before. You know?
I mean, the whole, White Noise is our studio, and all four of us are very, very sort of committed to just trying to push things and push the envelope a bit. And
so that actually reminds me, Jeremy has a question. He says, what inspired you to do the picture of everything else? He really loved that adaptation of Oscar Wilde.
Oh, thank you very much. The picture of everything else was, I guess, it was from revisiting the picture of Dorian Gray. And it's been a thing that has sort of been in my head for a while, which is just that the painter is more interesting. Basil Howard, who paints the picture of Dorian Gray in the book, he gets, I mean, sorry, spoilers for a book from 100 years ago, but he does the painting. Dorian runs off with it doesn't run off with the painting, he's gifted the painting. And then decades later, he runs into Dorian in the street, Dorian looking exactly the same. And Dorian takes him home and shows him this painting, and then gets so enraged with him for having done this to him that he stabs him to death. And I was like, that character is really interesting. The idea of someone who has painted this immortal painting, and I know that the book definitely kind of implies that the magic or the sort of curse or whatever you want to call it is more a product of Dorian's interaction with the painting. I just thought, what if it wasn't? What if it was to do with, if you painted something that you really, really loved, you could preserve it. And maybe also you could change it, because art is always, it's always perspectival.
Mm-hmm.
Even if people think they're painting something that's pure realism, that's a choice in itself. And you're still you're still choosing when to put down each dot on the page, each stroke. Every bit is a choice. So you are defining what you are seeing. So yeah, like there was all this sort of thought process, and I was like, "There's definitely a book in that." And just the sort of thing of, there was a few things like Penny Dreadful and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen film, which I'm mentioning, which is weird because it doesn't exist. But like things where Dorian Gray would be used and would sort of show up, and they always just use the same version, where it's just like it's the immortal guy with the painting in his attic. I'm just, there's so much more to unpack from that book, and I think like sort of 100 years later, when we don't need to talk about it in subtextual terms the way Oscar Wilde did and ended up in jail anyway, we can just sort of go for it and actually just talk about it on the surface of the book a little bit more.
Literally, Dan, I feel like I could have you on the show for 24 hours and just like get inside, like the way you dissect stories and the way you write them. I mean, there's a reason that you're one of the best writers right now. So,
thanks so much, man.
But as we got the last 2 minutes going, just anybody who comes in and grabs Superman, Wonder Woman, tell them, kind of what to expect from your outing here with DC.
Superman and Wonder Woman fight the sun.
They do. He's not lying. and I know you don't spoil it, but what can they expect from, issue 2? Like, is it gonna resolve? Is it gonna be something that maybe
it's a full story. I'm not trying to sort of do something that's too, just like, try to blow something out. It's a complete story. I wanted to tell something that felt a little bit Silver Agey and quite classic. So it's definite resolution. We get a little bit more focus on Yara in issue 2. Like, one's a little John centric.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really happy with issue 2. I think there's some really, really fun stuff in there. Really fun sort of couple of splash pages. I'm very happy with. So yeah.
Awesome, man. So The book is Superman, Wonder Woman on shelves technically today. But if you love this handsome young gentleman, Homesick Pilots 2 A and B covers are also going to be on the shelves tomorrow. So you can just pick up the whole Dan Waters package. If you haven't picked up Picture of Everything Else, you grab that too, like we'll give them all to you. And actually, I've got you on a one of his horror comics for our show. Dan is in the UK, so we cannot get them signed. I mean, one day we'll figure something out. We'll eat the shipping and we'll send you some stuff to get signed with a fat Dan Waters care package. But Dan,
book plates are always an easier option.
That's true. That's what I've been hearing. But Dan, I'm going to say it just because I want to speak it into existence. I really hope this man is writing a DC book in the next 12 months. But his name is Dan. He's writing a Picture of Everything Else. He's writing Superman, Wonder Woman, and he's writing Homesick Pilots. And he'll probably be writing something else in the next couple of months while we're at it. But thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. Best of luck with all.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always such a pleasure.
Yeah, I think I'll give you a week or two off before I bring it back on. All right.
Yeah, so we'll reach out to batteries.
Yeah, take it easy, Dan. You have a good one. Man. So thank you so much again to Dan Waters and Saida Woolf. The books are Superman, Wonder Woman, #1 from Future State. We got that on the shelves. Dan does an outstanding job writing again. And Soulstream, $1.99 all ages book. Saida Woolf, her first published work. She writes, she draws, she letters, she promotes. She does it all. So again, I've been Danny Morales. Steven's been in the store. Brendan left us early today, and Maddie D is still in the store. Thank you so much for joining us on our 26th episode of Collective Spotlight. We'll be back again next week with hopefully another Future State creator. And until then, join us on Wednesday, 5:30.